Welcome back, everybody, to a sweaty edition of Views from the Drunk. It is me. I am the sweaty drunk. Let's get the awkward stuff out of the way first. I am in fact sweating. It is hot, very hot today. I think I'm getting sick. I don't know if I sound different or not. It is wash day, so there's that. A little inside scoop. I had episode 5 of them already recorded. In my drunken stupor, I forgot to set the lens appropriately. So what I'm gonna do is re-drink and rewatch and then re-record for you guys. That's on me. That's my bad. I'll take that up. I'm not gonna go into this as if I've not seen episode 5. I have seen episode 5, but in order to actually capture my reaction properly, I'm gonna do the entire process again. I will watch it again. Actually, can I say that? Fuck it. It was a good episode, so I have no problem rewatching it. That's what we're gonna do. Hopefully my audio is good. Hopefully the neighborhood stays quiet enough. Hopefully I can edit out me blowing my nose into this rag. There's a lot of hopefullys going on. We'll see how it goes in post-production. I hope that you guys are enjoying the channel so far, and I appreciate it if you give me a like or a subscribe. I haven't seen my lasagna recipe yet, so what's up with that, guys? Oh, shoot, we're drinking. Goddamn, I might not make it, guys. I might not make it. Whew, the main thing, forgot that we're not, okay. We are drinking. What are we drinking today? Ooh, we are drinking whiskey. I enjoy all alcohol. Honestly, there's really, I've gotten a few messages from people. I no longer have a favorite drink. I can drink most drinks. Where did that come from? My first drink was Everclear. I had no knowledge or reputation. I got accustomed to drinking Everclear. I was young and dumb. And once I mastered the art of Everclear, nothing else really affected me after that. So yeah, we're drinking whiskey today. Splash. Voila. I'm ready. Whew. Goddamn. The episode still hit as hard as it did the first time. This time, actually, I think it might have hit harder because I was detached from the shock value. The first time I watched it, I'd heard everybody on social media talking about episode 5. So I'm going into episode 5 the first time around, expecting like, all right, what am I looking for? This time, knowing what it was, watching it was like, fuck it, let's just get into it. I think I researched that this episode was the one episode that had a black director. So last episode, I had a problem with the episode being too slow because it wasn't ramped up the way that I was used to. And I think I explained it that they needed to explain a lot of stuff, so that's the reason why. I think I might have been wrong because this episode was slow as fuck. There was no action, there was no suspense, there was very little suspense, but this episode had everything. This episode, wait until you hear my score for this episode. This episode was fire, but it was giving it to you the way and at the pace that you needed it. Those of y'all in the group chat, please don't take that sexual. But that's what this episode was doing. It wasn't about jump scares. I just realized I ain't seen not one ghost this entire show. This entire episode, I ain't seen not one ghost. That might be why I ain't gonna get y'all a score. That might be why the score is so high, because I ain't seen not one ghost this entire episode. This episode did everything by the book. Whoever the director is knows what suspense is, what tension is, how to create it, at what point to invoke it, how to use music, how to use the cinematography at their disposal. This episode was flawless. I'm not gonna lie, I seen it already, but when the episode ended, I was like, wait, that's it? I wanted more of this episode. Goddamn ghosts. White fear. Some black people don't necessarily know how we came to be here, in a sense. Yeah, we get it, slavery, but throughout the timeline, there were different points in history that caused us to be in the situation that we're in. So redlining was one of them. When I watched the trailer, and actually every time I seen the intro to the show, I was like, when are they gonna talk about redlining? Because that was a real thing. And a lot of people, black, white, or whoever, don't know what redlining is, how it affects generational wealth, how it gave a head start to a lot of comfortable people in this country, and how when people speak about, hey, why don't you just, get a loan from the bank? Why that's not as easy as you say it is. So they finally discussed it, and I think they did a pretty good job at the reenactment of that scene. They tried to humanize the realtor. Now that I know who she is, there's no coming back for her. They might try it later on in the show, but no, there's not. She's done. She's dead. No longer invited to the cookout. They tried to show her the duality that in certain situations, she's not the big honcho. So here she is trying to propose some good ideas for, well, we realize that the black people are actually raising the property value, so maybe we should. Woman, what are you doing? Stop talking, is what she was met with. Which, I mean, again, sign of the times, 1950. Someone can make the argument that she was in a situation trying to better herself and she played the hand that she was dealt. Okay. And others can say, I don't give a fuck, yo, what you did was foul and you put me in a situation where you knew I was gonna get fucked up. Both people can make that argument. It was pretty effective in explaining to people who maybe did not know exactly what was going on. I think the problem or the issue that you may run sometimes into with fictional stories is that some people watching it may think, oh, this is just fiction, and not know where the truth and the fiction meet up. It was a numbers game. It wasn't a people game. It wasn't these are human lives that we're dealing with. This was just numbers. That being the intro to this specific episode was important. So they go from the meeting to her selling a house to the neighbor that Lucky met in the previous episode. So now we're kind of seeing the origin story, if you will. You see the neighbor in a different light. You see the realtor in a different light. The neighbor that Lucky met, she knew something was wrong. Y'all women, y'all intuition, I don't know what to call it. Oh, it's just gonna be loud outside. Okay. Yeah. All that. But at the same time, the era that it was, she was going with her husband. Like, whatever you think is best, I think is what she said. The episode in the beginning was very educational if you were paying attention. They zoomed in on the contract and you saw the verbiage of essentially, this house cannot be sold to black people. Again, one of those things where if you don't know history, you might think that that's made up, but it's not. The show is doing its job at educating. The question is, are we learning? Good scene as far as giving us backstory, a good scene as far as showing the duality of the realtor's world, where in this office, she's told, yeah, you can be here or you can go get your hair done and go get pregnant, or you can be a part of this money-making scheme. You can see what she chooses. And then your cop boy coming to the scene. Let's not say that, I don't want 2 episodes back to back where I say that I told y'all so, but fuck it. I told y'all there was something wrong with that cop. I like the cop more now that they're giving him depth. Before, I knew there was something off with him, but I didn't know what it was because I couldn't put my finger on it. Now I get that he is, in on a scheme. He's here for the come up. And to see the shift in his speech patterns, the way that he talks about black people, when he walked into the house and it was like, look, hey, yo, calm down, this is a person that you're talking to where he's sitting across from the realtor in the diner and it's just like, yo, what's the next Coon family we got coming in? Like, that I like that shift because essentially you can't trust anyone. Yeah, I think that's what we learned from a lot of these interactions. Well, no. Some people have come straight up to somebody and said, yo, I don't like you. Other ones, Henry's boss. He believes that he's being nice to black people. You got the TV salesman who believes that, yeah, I sell a TV to anyone. Doesn't matter the skin color. Those are the people who are typically the most racist because they don't know that they are. If someone says, yo, I just don't like black people, cool. But if someone says, yo, I accept everybody, but you have all these biases in between that stops you from actually accepting people, those are the most dangerous ones. I'm liking how the show is unraveling. Episode 5 is probably a good episode to start unraveling because I'm guessing we got about 5 more episodes to go, so now it's probably going to take off like a rocket ship. Definitely gave us a solid foundation for most of the characters. We understand the entire Emery family and why they are the way they are. The beginning of the episode set up a good pace. I didn't feel any kind of bad after she met the cop and then walks into her car and she gets choked up. Because it's like, you've already solidified yourself as the bad guy that can't be unforgivable. You've already solidified yourself as the bad guy who can't be forgiven. There is no coming back for the realtor. But I'm done talking about her because I want to get to the juicy stuff of the episode. The opening to the second half of the episode, the flashback to Lucky and Chester. This is some cinematography shit. What did it remind me of? Charlie Chaplin does the black screen circle on the subject and then the expansion thing. That's what it reminded me of. A red overlay, eerie, the music, expanding. Okay, we finally about to figure out what happened. That's what I said the first time I saw. I was like, oh, so we really gonna find out now. I could feel it coming this time. Pause. We see the same setup. Lucky's in the house. Chester, white lady, who, by the way, I might not fuck with me for this one, is an amazing actor. The way that she carried that scene was ridiculous. So I have a thing for actors who are able to be the bad guy very well. So you might have seen that and was like, hey, yo, fuck that, fuck white people, fuck this. I'm under the riot and shit. Chances are that actor is not racist. That actor would not do the things that she did in that, that scene. So the ability to do that is a talent. And I just want to say kudos, I don't know her name, to whoever she is for carrying that scene the way that she did. It was disgusting. The scene was disgusting, and she was committed to it like a motherfucker. Also, I wanted to acknowledge the amount of respect on the set, an actor's note, if you will. There's a lot of trust that goes into filming scenes in general, action scenes, and definitely scenes like this. The set has to be comfortable. If you've already watched it or if you rewatch it, there's a lot of physical actions, the men grabbing Lucky. Before any of that happens, there has to be a conversation between Lucky's, the actor Lucky, and the men grab, like, are you okay with me grabbing your wrist like this? There's a whole lot of movement that needs to go into that, and trust and respect and dialogue. What I would have given to be a fly on the wall in that room, and to see that amount of energy, because what they finally came out with was that scene, and it's like how much went into creating that. A safe space for people to recreate something as foul as that was. Respect on that set had to have been over 9,000. This is probably the first time that I'll actually give the director kudos for creating and controlling tension. You have the scene, Lucky's like, yo, y'all better get out of here. She closes all the doors. She grabs her son, looks out the window, sees the men walking. Tension. And everything that she does after that, she's running around, closing doors, puts Chester in the closet, she's hiding, they're slowly moving, opening windows. Every beat by beat is just tension building. That's not an easy thing to do. When it comes to timing, when it comes to pacing, that shit was masterfully done. It was that, and the amount of I just talked about respect on the set, so the amount of disrespect in that scene took a lot. Cat in the Bag has to be, and this is not on the actors, this is on the script, or the characters. They had to have done this before. Like, in order to know what cat in the bag means, that means that they've done this before. Imagine if you thought this scene was bad, for them to know they've either put real cats in bags or other families have experienced this as well. Just saying. That's not something you just wink at. It takes skill, it takes planning, and it takes the vision to see it through. Kudos them. I'm saying them because I actually don't know the names of the people I'm supposed to be saying kudos to, but good job. I don't know if you really want me to get into the actual scene, like the actual parts of it. I mean, if you've seen it, you've seen it. If you haven't, maybe you don't want to see it. I don't know. The way that they walked away. So they put the pillowcase bag down, and I guess there's no more fun now, so they leave. And the way that they're leaving is, I think, a testament to how they don't see black people as actual human beings or equal to themselves. Because what they engaged in was something akin to maybe, I don't know, flooding an anthill or something. Like, something that you do, you run out to the woods and like, hey, there's bees there, let's poke it. Like something you do that's disrespectful, and you don't think of bees as people, I mean, not people, but like actual beings on your level. So you do things that are cruel and unusual. And what they did in that house was cruel and unusual. And the way that they walked away from it, I think one was skipping, and it was just kind of like, all right, we're headed home to get dinner. It's like, yo, you're not stuck on that? Like, so clearly you don't see what you just did as something other than stepping on an anthill. And I think that was that scene of them walking away, and I think it turned red again. That was a powerful scene. Most of the scenes in this episode were powerful. Most of the, I'm gonna look up the director this time. It's probably on the screen right now, somewhere. There. Lucky wasn't for that religion shit. Lucky was not for the religion shit. And I'm not calling religion shit. I'm saying she wasn't for the religion shit. She slapped the shit out of that woman. She was zoned out. She was over here. Came back to, heard an amen, stood up and slapped short. Like, so I now partially forgive Lucky for being the way that she is. Partially. I still don't like the way her character has developed, but I now partially give her a pass. Lucky has every right to go as insane and crazy as she wants to be. For what she went through, there's a pass given to go crazy. You are allowed to lose your mind, wander around in the field, smelling flowers, putting shit, digging shit up, burying shit, whatever you want to do. At that point, you're allowed to do that. She snapped out of whatever she was in, slapped the shit out of that woman, and said, "Hey yo, when God take your son, let me know." But she said, "When God take your son, give him my regards." Yeah, time and a place. Time and a place. I do think that it's fulfilling. The Emery story now comes full circle. I'll say that, because I understand things that I probably in the past videos have been complaining about. I get the pieces now. The children's reaction to the mother's behavior makes sense now. Even Gracie was like, "Yo, is she ever gonna come back?" And it's like, "Yo, mom never went nowhere." Like dad is over here. He trying. Henry stepped the fuck up because he had to. He had to support his wife the way that she supported him when he had his situation. But he's also, I think he said it when he came back in the house, "We got 2 girls in that car," which I think was her snap out moment of like, "All right, let me get my shit together." Yo, this family, I don't know. I want to know who's in charge of the family section of this show. 100%. They got that shit down pat. The family aspect of the show, fire. I'm gonna say it on purpose every episode that I review. The family aspect of the show. Did I do this episode justice? I feel like I tiptoed around not talking about the gruesome parts of it, and I don't know if I was supposed to talk about the gruesome parts. I don't think it was necessary. America has a very photoshopped history. If you read history books, you'll get one version of it. If you talk to some elders who were maybe there twice removed, you'll get another version of it. We like to think that it is a way. Depending on who you are, where you stand on the hierarchy, you might think differently than other people. The fact of the matter is that there is a history to America. Just because you don't know it doesn't make it not a thing. So, personal story about myself. I have a very unique last name. You don't know 2 people with my last name. For me, actually, I haven't known anyone with my last name outside of my family. Whether you're like, immediate family, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever. It wasn't until I started traveling that I started meeting people with my last name. Let me take that back. Not people. I only met 2 people with my last name. So my father's father is from Arkansas, and I believe his father, one of them, somebody was a slave in Arkansas. Basically, that's where my name comes from, Arkansas. I think I'm like 25, 26, whatever. I'm traveling the world. I bump into somebody with my last name, and they're like, "Oh snap, what's your name?" Boom. "What's your name?" Boom. And I say, "Let me guess." Okay, they were white. And I don't know if you were thinking it, if you were wondering, yes, they were white. And I said, "Let me guess, you're from Arkansas." And their eyes lit up like, "How'd you know?" And of course, nobody wants to hear this. And it wasn't an attack, it was just, I said, "Oh, my father's father is from Arkansas, and his father was a slave in Arkansas." And his face went, he did the thing that white people do. And this is not an attack on the person I was talking to, because you don't know. You were born with your last name just the way I was. I don't imagine that your parents passed down the bad stories about your name. Why would they? That doesn't make sense. When you have the luxury to be able to not know the bad stuff and only think the good stuff, that does give you a viewpoint that may not be true. And when you operate from that viewpoint, and other people are operating, let's say, what you might think aggressively, and you're like, why can't you guys just calm down and chill? And then they say, "Man, fuck you." It comes from a place, but you're not aware of that place because your parents have chosen not to tell you the story that if you meet any black kids with your last name, is because your great somebody owned their people. If more parents would tell their kids that their great somebody owned those people, I don't know, maybe we'd be taking steps in the right direction.